Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome back. So a while back, I had done a review of my Tisas 1911. I'll go ahead and put a link up here to that. And I had talked about the pros and cons of that, and then I did a couple of follow-ups after that, shooting it and basically my afterthoughts of shooting it. And I had said several times that I thought it would be a good idea to go and change out some parts, make it a little more user friendly, a little more friendly to the hand because I had cut my hand open. And I'll put a link to each of those as well. And in one of them, I actually even had an image of what my hand looked like afterwards. And since then, I really haven't shot this pistol that often. And the reason for it is I didn't really enjoy shooting it. And the reason I didn't enjoy shooting it is because, well, it was ripping my hand open every time I did. Now, I did get a lot of comments from people saying, oh, well, you're holding it wrong. You should be holding it lower on the grip. And you'll see I hold it up here. Now, granted, when I did first get this, I was much more overweight. So as I did hold it, yes, my hand did come up around the back of the beaver tail. That was not the reason I was getting cut. I thought I was getting pinched between the beaver tail and the hammer. And I wish I had gotten some images before I started this project, but I figured out what the problem was. The problem was the hammer, the beaver tail, and a lot of the parts on this are very unfinished. What does that mean? Essentially, when a firearm or anything is manufactured out of metal, it's either formed or it is cut, CNC'd, anything. There's water jet, and usually that leaves a very sharp or very precise edge. And sometimes you can get burrs on that, which is basically a ledge of metal. Your knife, if you have a very sharp knife, it has a burr on it. And that burr is usually straightened out. That's what a leather strap does. But in this case, it was the whole back, and I'll show you here. All of the back here was sharp. The hammer had sharp edges. And what I did, and I'll show you some close-ups and images over here on the left. And what I did was I went ahead and I grabbed my file. And instead of replacing the parts, which I may still do if this doesn't work out, and I'm just going to preface this right now by saying I am not an armor. I am not a gunsmith. And if you do this to your firearm, you have the potential of ruining, destroying, or making it unsafe. Do not do what I do just because you've seen somebody on the internet do it. That being said, I made the choice to go ahead and soften the edges of the pieces of my firearm. The hammer in the back on both sides had a burr that was catching my finger, or would catch my skin. On the beaver tail, all the way around on the beaver tail, there was a burr. On the sides of the grip safety, it was sharp. So what I did was I took my file, and if you're following me on Instagram, you would have seen this the other day. I took my file, some sandpapers, a couple of different files, and I went ahead and I basically just broke the burr. I took the burr off the edge and then made it so it's a little more rounded edge. I didn't take away any of the back of the hammer, which I was originally thinking I was going to do. And that's before doing that, I inspected it a little bit closer, and that's when I found the sharp edge, the burr that I was dealing with. So what I did was I rounded that off. I rounded off the edges here on the back of the beaver tail. And I basically just, I scratched it off with the file. Now, this looks very rough right now because when you file on metal, you will get scratches. You will get missed scratches. Once again, I'm not an armorer. I'm not a gunsmith. So my ability to do this is not professional. But this is my firearm, and I will do with it as I choose. So what I did was I broke the edge. I basically smoothed it, rounded it over with a rough file, used a lighter file, one not as rough as the original one I started with, and I broke it down a little bit smoother, and then I started working it with a little bit of sandpaper. Now, this is not, it's still not, and you'll see in the images I'm going to be putting up throughout here, that the finish is still not quite right. There's still some scratching to it. I still need to go through the sandpaper grits and smooth it out and kind of get it a little more polished. But what I'm thinking I might do at this point is polish it off, not do a finish on it, and then once I'm and then make sure it's oiled so it doesn't rust. And you'll notice I'm doing it while it's still together. I don't have a vise to keep it in, so I have to have some meat to hold on to, and that's here. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to, once I finish smoothing it out and rounding it out and get done doing all the metal work, I'm going to break it down, clean out all the shavings, make sure it's oiled, make sure it's clean, make sure there's nothing in there, and then I'm going to take it and shoot it. And if it works and it doesn't bite me anymore and it does function perfectly fine, then what I'll do is I'll take it down and then refinish it, and then we'll keep it like that until I get the time and the money to actually go and replace parts. I figured this would be the first step in seeing if I even want to keep the firearm. Once again, I like 1911s. I like 45. I just don't like the way this would bite me when I was shooting it. However, I can say that the edges are very smooth. Around the beaver tail, I don't have anything sharp anymore. I rack it, and it does not bite me. I don't feel anything rough against my hand. So I think I'm heading in the right direction with this. I just need to finish off the finish of it, make it smooth. There is a little bit of roughness to it, but just from the file. And I think once I'm done doing that and I test it, I'm pretty sure I'll be pleasantly surprised. Now, I'm not doing any of the internals. Let's be clear on that. I'm not ready to start working on any of the internals. I'm just trying to make it so it functions comfortably in my hand without having to wear gloves. I'm convinced, though, if I had worn gloves while I was shooting it, it probably would have cut into the gloves as well. So that's my perspective. Hopefully the images I'm including kind of show you exactly what I've been doing. And like I said, the images are rough. You're going to see scratches where I was breaking the edge. I have not finished sanding it yet when these pictures were taken. So once I complete it, I'll report back with what it looks like after I've finished sanding it. I'll have some newer pictures. I'll probably show some images after I finish cleaning it as well, and make sure, show what the inside looked like after I got done, scraping everything down. And then after I take it shooting, I'll have another video on it to kind of fill you in on what happened and how it works and if it did function, if it did bite me still or not. But let me know what you think. Have any of you done any of this stuff with your Tisas, the 1911? Have any of you done any of this stuff at all with any 1911 or any firearm? Am I wrong in thinking that that milling was not, the finish was not cleaned up? I mean, this is a inexpensive firearm, so my take on that is not just material, but time put into the finishing of it. Finishing being breaking the edges, smoothing it out, the fit and finish, things like that. That's my personal take on it. If you disagree, please let me know. Let me know why you disagree. Don't just say, "Oh, well, this guy's an idiot because blah." Give me a reason. If you're willing to tell me the reasoning behind things, I'm willing to listen to it. If you're just going to tell me that I'm dumb for doing this and not give me a reason, I'm going to pretty much laugh at you. But either way, let me know what you think about the idea I had. Have you done any of this stuff? Check out my wife and I's Twitch. Every Friday night we do older games. That would be, I think we did, I believe we did Conkers again, but I think we're going to be doing Ocarina of Time this weekend. But go ahead and follow us on Twitch. Check it out. Like, share, subscribe here, and we'll see you again next time.